We both walked away from this going, that was really nice. That was a lovely little movie.
Really nice is a perfect word. Perfect. Yeah. Really nice.
We were like, we really enjoyed it. But we both kind of went, we're not blown away. We're not like, oh my gosh, you have to go see this movie. This is so amazing.
Did the sky high expectations help, or the rock bottom expectations, more like it, make this more enjoyable than you thought it? Like, did that help it? Like, oh, I had low expectations and it exceeded it. Great.
I think it did. I think I had already had kind of low expectations going into this. And I think I told you, one of my favorite movie reviewers when he reviews a movie he doesn't really enjoy, he pretty much asks any question he can around it without actually talking about the movie. Like, if he really likes this movie or not. Like, he doesn't fake it. And so when I watched his review, or like he's interviewing the different actors and stuff, it was pretty obvious he didn't like this. So it like even lowered it even more for me. So I went into this somewhat skeptical. I think two things helped. Yes, it was kind of low expectations. I think the other thing that really helped was the short at the beginning of this was really good. I'm a big fan of Up in general. The Carl character, like even the Doug shorts that are on Disney Plus are some of our family's favorites. So like you endeared me pretty quickly. I didn't know until like the day of that it was a Carl short at the beginning of this.
It threw off my son. He was like, wait, Dad, where's the Fire and Water movie?
Yeah.
Are we seeing, this is Up. Where's the Fire and Water movie?
I can see where that was confusing.
It's like, don't worry, buddy. It'll be there.
So yeah, I mean, that all helped. And I mean, there's a lot of elements that I really enjoyed in this, but overall, that was my first impression. This is a really nice movie. I'm curious, you took him to go see it. We walked away going, I don't think our kids would like this movie.
He liked it. My son enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the animation on the fire. I thought the fire was beautiful. I thought it was elegant. Anytime you're in Firetown and interacting with people, I really like that. The glass blowing, especially, and how they weaved that element into it. We are big fans of the Netflix series Blown Away, the reality show, where it's a glass blowing reality show. So I think that also played into it. I was like, oh, the different colors that she was doing and stuff like that. How her temper would blow up and then she would go pick up the glass pieces and put it and mesh it back into the thing it was. So I think that really worked. Everything that they did kind of with fire and that world, I really enjoyed. I'll say Wade, he grew on me throughout this and kind of just won me over. And I wondered, Eddie, did you feel seen having a representation of somebody who cries a lot as a lead character? Did you feel seen in that moment and be like, this guy is me crying over nothing?
Yes, it is. I didn't have that thought in the moment, but now that you say it, yes. I am an empathetic crier. I can't help it. I actually empathetically cried today.
Over the brownie? They were so good.
In front of the whole church. It was, now it's to the point where like it annoys me when it comes up because it's just like, ugh, why do you cry at everything? But I can't help it. So I thought that was hysterical and really enjoyed that little tidbit. I guess until now, like you truly are, you know me well, because that's me.
So here are some of my issues that I have with it. And the big one for me is the plot, which they completely avoided in all of the marketing for this film. Probably, I don't know if it helped because it still did not make very much money. We'll get to that point at the end of this. But this was sold as like a Romeo and Juliet kind of a story. Maybe a little bit of like, who can tell you what you can really be, but it's like, it's supposed to be a love story. It's a part of this, But the main plot being she's trying to fight a government inspector's shutting down her dad's store that he built by himself. Like, just was totally underwhelming. Like him, like that, their whole drive to go figure out what's going on. And then they figure out the source, but that's not good enough. Like, they figured out the solution. It's not her family's fault. It's whoever built that dam, and there's a giant hole in it, but somehow she's still responsible because the construction people don't like Wade. That shouldn't be her fault. Eddie, tell me, am I crazy that that's a major plot thing that doesn't make sense?
You are not crazy. This goes to what we have talked about. It feels like ad nauseum. Where is a villain? Give me conflict. I could not like.
There's no villain in this film.
There's absolutely no villain. I mean, you're trying to give some, like, is the conflict the family tension, like with her dad and expectation, but like her dad is lovable enough that you're just like, I don't feel that at all. Like there is no antagonist, not even in the sense of like having to overcome yourself, because I think here's my second complaint against the movie or the plot. One, no villain. Number two, so predictable. You see everything coming a mile away. Like, and that was what was so hard, because name names, Eddie.
Them getting together, of course.
Yeah, like of course you see that, but like even how things shake out with her dad and like him supporting her dream, and like all of these like things that were supposed to create conflict didn't, because you're like, well, I already know how that's going to end. Like this, everything has been so predictable. Oh, this represents this and this is that. Okay, I see that. Like,
can I make a case? Can I make a case here?
Sure.
She never had a dream different than owning and running her dad's shop.
Yeah.
Everybody else, Wade convinced her that she wanted to do something else, and her anger was really her saying she really didn't want this in the first place. It was just parental immigrant, like her family being immigrants and coming to America, giving her everything and having her take on the lineage. I believe that is a real thing. And the director for this, Peter Sohn, where's his name?
Yeah, Peter Sohn.
I believe he's telling a story of what he experienced being a Korean in living in Brooklyn with immigrant family.
Yeah. Yes.
But she is not acting like somebody who had, like, take Brave.
Yeah.
Merida has a very clear arc, a different direction. She wants to be something completely else. And the big bad conflict, one will obviously with the bear, but also with her mom, because she has a very specific vision for her, and they come to head the entire time. She never brings us up with her dad until the very, very end at the most critical moment. But she had to be convinced of that the whole time. Like, what do we do? Like, you can't suddenly have her turn. Yes, she is amazing at all of the sculpting and creativity stuff. But it's a side part of what she's wanting. Her main goal is taking over her dad's shop. She wants that more than anything.
Yeah.
And then she wants to, and it kind of drives the whole why she's trying to find the answer to the source of the water, which they find pretty quickly. And then they kind of have an answer for it. But who thought tempered glass would actually hold up that long? And then it's their fault. I don't understand. So I think that's what you said was great. There is no actual villain in this. Maybe, I guess you could say the other cultures that are like kind of putting them down in some instances, but even that wasn't like hard hitting. It wasn't like one group coming up against another. It's like microaggressions, I guess, is the way, which are real thing. Like, I'm not putting that down, but I'm saying for a story, it needs to be more. It's not going to
carry drama. It doesn't make drama. Yeah. It's
real. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying people don't experience it in the workplace all the time. I'm just saying this is a story, and this is a movie I'm paying to come see. You got to elevate that stuff.
Your comparison to Brave is brilliant. I think that is a really good movie to compare this to. Because in Brave, you have 3 levels of conflict, right? You've got the like comical conflict of the different tribes, of the different clans, right? Yep. You've got the relational and internal conflict for Merida trying to be who she is. And that is evident and obvious through the whole movie. You don't get that here. And the conflict with her mom, right? Like that whole thing, you feel through it all and it's tangible and it's realistic. You don't get that here at all in Elemental. Then Brave does something very, very smart. They create that the Mordur, right? The bear that is looming and coming in. So you have this physical third fight, level. You have this physical antagonist that is looming and coming in. You don't get that at all. Like, I'm sorry, municipal bureaucracy is not a good antagonist. Like nobody is like feeling the drama. Like, and yeah, so it was sad because I'm like, I love the world that you've created. I thought they did some very clever things with the world that was cute and clever at times,
and creative
funny.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, creative at times, and at times funny, but not like I didn't laugh out loud. Like there wasn't any like, whoa, that was really funny. That really got me. So I think that's where it just kind of it just didn't get it all the way. You know, like it.
So here's my third issue with the film is that it had several holes in the world building.
Yeah.
Specifically at the end that still I don't feel like they either explained or set it up so it didn't need explanation to when, spoiler, you get at the very end and Wade and Ember come together and they can coexist. Because the entire time they're saying they can't mix, elements cannot mix. And then they do, and you get nothing. They didn't like leave breadcrumbs like this one person saying, you know what? I think it can work. You just got to do this instead. You got to love instead of hate. Like that's the only way to make things. They didn't have any of that. It's just a lead. And then all of a sudden they can coexist and they're fine. This is great. Oh, we can touch. Awesome. Well, like what? The heat of our love keeps me from putting out your fire.
Well, okay, so we're just going to get into massive spoilers here.
It's all spoiler. They shouldn't be watching. They shouldn't be listening to this.
Here's where it all fell apart for me, and I just was kind of like, oh, really? So they touch, right? And nothing happens. Where you're like, I'm sorry, water, there's just bubbles. Bubbles. But then as soon as they get like shoved into like, what would you call that? The furnace room or whatever. And because she's in there with him, the ambient temperature gets higher. So then now he evaporates, but he didn't before when they actually touched.
Well, they weren't in a furnace room.
Okay. But like, I can touch you, but I can't be near you. I don't know. That was the moment where I'm like, what?
But at any time they could have been together and then she could have eaten charcoals to get her flame back or something every other time.
And then like, what's his way of, hold on, let me just finish my thought. So when he like, quote unquote dies, right? That was so anticlimactic for me. Talk about like predictable. I'm like, he's going to come back. Like there's just no way that this is how this ends. Like after this, like after I finished the movie, I kind of wish, I thought back and I'm like, they should have killed him off there. Like that would have made this a much more interesting, intriguing storyline.
Okay, so this is the one place where we disagree. I thought they actually were about to kill him off and make it a really sad ending. And I actually, because I had grown to actually care about Wade throughout this, he just kind of grew on me. There's other actors that like you are annoyed by them, but then by the end you're like, okay, I just love this guy because he's in my life.
It's like me.
It's like Eddie. Eddie's the character that I was thinking of. Yes. So when he did come back and they had to make him cry to come back, I enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed
the crying to come back. I did enjoy. I thought that was really clever.
But yeah, if you didn't think he was going to die, of course you weren't going to be like upset in that moment.
Yeah. So I want to, don't get me wrong, I do like this movie. It is definitely far better than Peterson's last movie, right? His last movie was The Good Dinosaur.
They gave him another movie after The Good Dinosaur.
They gave him another movie after The Good Dinosaur, which is crazy to think. I would be shocked if he gets another one after this. But that's neither here or there. Yeah, I just felt also like you had a couple of really good characters that like voice actors that you didn't use to their full potential. Don't bring Catherine O'Hara into a movie unless you're just going to give her a scene stealer. And I didn't get a scene stealer for Catherine O'Hara. And for that matter as well, Wendy McClendon Covey, she's Beverly Goldberg from the Goldbergs, one of my favorite female characters like of all time. Again, also like I didn't feel like she got the scene stealing moment that she deserved.
So this is my fourth gripe with this film. One of the things that and why I really enjoyed Secret Invasion so much. There is no name actors in the top billing, anywhere near the top billing of this. The fact that you had to say Catherine O'Hara's in this film and the whole time ago, who even was she in this movie? Like, it makes sense now. It was Wade's mother in the film. Her name was Brooke in there. That was a mistake. Like, even though this is animation, those actors draw in people. Like, just look at Inside Out, the amazing cast for that. Not only are they great voice actors, but seeing, the lady from Parks and Rec, she's going to be in this film. Like, yeah, that makes it like those still draw people in.
Yes.
Having those name actors in it. So Mahmoud Athi, I totally butchered that. I'm sorry. I have seen him in a couple of things, like he was in Jurassic World recently and the little known Netflix movie Archive 81, which is really good. I know Leah Lewis is in some things, but besides that, they're the two leads of this thing. And they don't have the gravitas to pull people in, to have them come in and even have, like, I thought he did a good job. And as I said, he drew me in as it went through, but just when you're talking about you're needing to get, and that's probably why Lightyear did a lot better, because you had Chris Evans highlighting this film. Like, that's probably one of the reasons why able to get people in there. And you had other name actors in there. This didn't have any of that. Catherine O'Hara was buried in this film. And she wasn't on, and she's not really the person you're gonna lead with, but if she's your number one actress, like. But
she didn't even do any press junkets for this. Nothing. Like, neither of those two ladies did anything for this. Like, I think back to Luca. I just keep bringing up Luca because I feel like in the last few years, it's the only movie that like really grabbed me. You had Jim Gaffigan, you had Sacha Baron Cohen, and you had
Jacob Tremblay.
And then the mom, who played the mom, SNL. Why can't I think of her name?
Maya Rudolph.
Yes, Maya Rudolph. So you had and they were side characters.
Peter Sohn's in this movie. He's Chichio.
Oh, okay.
He's in this film. But then you also had Jacob Tremblay, who had just come off of looking this up right now. But he was actually somewhat of a name as well.
But like in Luca, they gave those characters some great comedic moments. Like his parents with Maya Rudolph and Jim Gaffigan, they've got some really great banter moments. Like, they knew who they had and they gave them those moments to elevate those characters. The script did not give that to Catherine O'Hara or Wendy McClendon Covey. Like, you had two really great comedic actresses right there and you did nothing with them.
I don't know if I have any more gripes, but I think that one, it might have been my last gripe, was just the ability. Oh, well, I've got other little gripes, like they're trying to rip off Quidditch, but it's worse. It's just like, it was so lame. Like, this is so not true. Funny. They did nothing with, they don't say Earth. They say land. Is that what the
trees are?
It's instead we're fire, water, land. That's what, it's not called Earth. It's like land. But then you've got trees and rocks, and that's all. And then and wind. They really did nothing with these two other elements, right, other than supporting. And I guess you've got a massive movie, but like, felt like we got a lot more with Inside Out, like understanding the other emotions. But with this, it's like, hey, you're living in this world, and this is the underbelly. We're just going to stay in fire. I like the fire, but I wanted to know more about the other elements as well.
I'll go back. I do want to end on a positive note. I felt like this was a very nice movie. I would recommend when it hits Disney Plus to watch it.
Yeah, go see it.
But I think that's what's also bittersweet about this is it's like, I don't want Pixar to be a Disney Plus studio. Like I want, but I go back to that and go, you should definitely watch this. I will watch this movie again. I thought it was a very lovely movie, but it won't climb, anywhere near the top in all of this. I think the other positive thing that I want to end on, I mean, Pixar's does still, for me, just hold the title of the most beautiful animation. It has some beautiful animated sequences in this that I'm like, I love the artistry. I think it's really great. Sadly, they've lost their way in their storytelling capability, and I hope they find that again soon.
You are also speaking as someone who has not watched any of the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I will give you that. But I would say...
You did use the word beautiful, which is different.
It is different.
That's different than what Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is.
Correct. So like I can appreciate different artistic styles and art directions in that. But I think in general, Pixar has an ability to create these sequences that you could lift a scene and print it and put it up on a wall, and it would hold as just a beautiful piece of artwork. And at the end of the day, that is what animation is. Like it is artwork, in motion. And I do need to see the Spider-Verse movies because I've been told that multiple times. But I think if we're just talking in broad strokes, a studio that is the most beautiful, I don't think Pixar's been dethroned yet. There's people coming for him.
They're coming for him. They're not. And what's great is these other studios, they're not coming for them doing what Pixar does best. They're doing their own thing.
Yes.
So I would highly suggest you go see, can't suggest enough you watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
And that's what's crazy about all of this.
There's a half African-American and half Hispanic family. Miles Morales. How have you not jumped at this, Eddie? Did you love Spanish culture?
I do love Spanish culture.
What are you waiting for, Eddie? Well, why do you hate Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse so much?
I don't. It's just I have a very busy job and 3 kids, and Eddie, I can only watch so many things.
You make time for the weirdest bad Disney movies.
Anywho, it is interesting that this is the year for animated films, right? And the studio that has been known for being the powerhouse of animated films in the past 2 decades is striking out of all the years.
To the tune of $29 million. Can't even make $30 million on a $200 million budget.
DreamWorks had a big hit with Puss in Boots. And again, we're talking art direction there that I have not seen the whole movie. I've seen sequences and it's incredible. You had Illumination the
biggest film of the year so far.
The biggest film of the year so far. And Mario Brothers. and then Sony Animation with Into the Spider-Verse.
Cross
the Spider-Verse, excuse
Get it
me.
right, and then they flop to a $29 million Elemental they spent $200 million, Eddie, on the production because of all of these weird elements and stuff that probably a lot of it was on fire alone in water. But man,
they had to redo a lot. Yeah, and it's sad. I don't want that. Like, you and I have said this so many times. I feel like a broken record. Like, we love Pixar. We want Pixar to be the big movie-going animated studio, but they just haven't found it. Like, they've somehow lost it for a bit here.
We'll see.
I'm hearing good rumors about Disney Animation Studios' upcoming film Wish. There was several people who got an advanced showing of it at some type of insider thing, and they were raving about it, and they're seeing an unfinished product of it. So my excitement for that just went up like a percentage point or two.
Okay.
Just
a wee bit.
Just hearing some of those things. So